Thanks for attending tonight. My name is Jim Brimmeyer. I'm with the St. Louis Park Rotary. Thank you. I was past president in 1987-88 and past president again in 2023-24. We are a sponsor of the Summer Concert Series, our two Rotary clubs, the original Noon Club and the Sunrise Club. Rotary is a worldwide organization of about 1.5 million men and women whose motto is service above self. I've been in Rotary now, beginning this month, for 50 years, and I'm glad I've been part of it. So we're always looking to invite community members to be part of our organization. There are 4 opportunities per month to attend the meetings. One group meets every other Monday at noon, and one group meets every other Friday in the morning, and both of us meet at the Westwood Hills Nature Center. Now, this summer, we've been meeting at another facility because of the summer programs at Westwood, but starting next week, we'll be back at the Nature Center. So we have a joint website of the two clubs, stlouisparkrotary.org. So you might want to take some time, if you can remember that, to look it up, and you might want to visit it sometime. We'd love to have you. So enjoy the performance tonight by all the talent with the Park Theater Company. I think it'll be fun. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Jim. Jim Brimmeyer, Mr. St. Louis Park. If we read off his resume, we'd be here till 8:30, take the whole program. Jim's the only guy I know that was our city manager, and an excellent one at that for many years. And then when he advanced from that, he got elected to the city council and spent close to another 9 or 10 years. So thank you, Jim, and thanks to the Rotary. The Rotary sponsors this entire summer series, not just on Wednesday, but Thursday nights. And so we're really grateful for them. And least I forget, G&B Sound Production. The last 2 years, we've had their availability. Rick Burno's sons. Rick used to be the director of Parks and Rec here, and again, I mentioned his name and theirs. It was very supportive for our community theater and arts in the park, which is what this is all about. Our talent show has been here. This is our 16th year. Let's hear it. 2009. And so we've hit a landmark. The other thing I don't want to forget is we do have programs on the table there. I am good at multitasking, but only 6 things at a time. And so there's a program over there, and also there's a little 3M stick-em note yellow pad. Put your name on that and put it in the top hat. We'll be raffling off CDs and books throughout the evening. So, all right. I've been told by one of our performers, and I'm only going to introduce him by name. His credentials are on the program. Jim Fischer.
Wow, thanks for coming out, everybody. Look at the surprise, look who's here. Thank you, thank you. I'm Jim Fischer. I've had an unusual life. I've traveled quite a bit, and I have met a lot of interesting people. And I've written 2 books now. They're for sale at the desk over there, and they're nothing like you've ever read before. So if you're interested, you like reading, you want to hear some unusual stories, there's the place for it. I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to start out with a story. This is spring 1972. I just got out of the Air Force. And I was making my way to California to visit my uncle and my cousins, who I'd never met before. I had an old 64 Chevy van. I fixed it all up, bed, insulation, 8-track stereo, the whole bit. But I still owed money on it, so I didn't want to get a job. So when I got to California, LA there, a friend of a friend gave me a good price for it. I sent the money order back to my dad to pay off the van and kept the change. I had like $400 left over, so that was pretty good in '72. So I'm starting my first trip, my first cross-country hitchhiking adventure. So you never know what's going to happen. Here's what happened. I was standing on the side of the road along Pacific Coast Highway, waiting for somebody to stop. You never know who's going to pick you up. This pickup truck slows down. It's got a camper on the top. There's a middle-aged guy in there and a teenage guy, I presume it's father and son, and they stop right alongside of me, roll down their window. Where are you going? I don't care. I just want to see the scenery. Wherever you're going is fine with me. Okay, put your pack in the back. Hop on in. So we start riding. He introduces himself. He's John Sr., John Jr. They asked me what I was doing. I told them about the service, just traveling around. And they told me their story. They had a very interesting story. Get this. It seems like that John Sr. had divorced John Jr.'s mother. Shortly thereafter, his business partner died and left his widow half the business and left him the other half of the business. And an ocean-going sailing yacht of some kind. So this guy, he's got a bunch of money, he's single, he's going to get a passport and sail to the South Pacific, start a new life. Okay. So he gets down to the Tonga Islands, wherever that is, and about a month or two later, he gets a letter from his son. Dad, Mom took me to Las Vegas. She's a dancer. She's got a lot of boyfriends. She's ignoring me and mistreating me, and I think she's using drugs. Dad, please come and save me. He sails back across, 3 weeks across the ocean, lands in San Diego, goes in, talks to the harbor master. He's going to lease a slip for his boat. And he says, hang on, and one thing leads to another. The police show up, and it turns out the widow contested the will, and they impounded the boat. So he buys a pickup truck, drives up to Las Vegas, picks up his son. Mom wasn't even there. They're going to drive and see the scenery while the lawyers work out the details. Incredible story, whatever. You don't hear that every day. So we get up to the Oregon coast. We're camping. There's waves and rocks and beautiful place. I'm sitting on my my tent, and his camper's over there, and his son comes over and says, come on over. My dad wants to show you something. Go into his camper. He's got a license, a captain's license for an ocean-going vessel. He's got pictures of this beautiful sailboat, 2 masts, all these native people and palm trees and beaches and reefs and beautiful sea. And then he shows me the logbook, Tonga Island, San Diego, 25 days, whatever. This guy's legit. So we're sitting around the campfire that night, and we're talking about different topics, and out of nowhere he asked me, hey, what do you think about flying saucers? You think they're real? I'd done some reading, they could be real, I don't know, He asked me, have you ever seen one? And I say, no, have you? He says, I have, in fact. I've been from me to my truck on multiple occasions. They taught me how to communicate through mental telepathy, and they're living here among us. They're here for our benefit. And Gene Roddenberry, who wrote Star Trek, he was in contact with them. Harry Bates, who wrote The Day the Earth Stood Still, remember that movie? Gort, Barato, Klato, Nento, whatever. He was in contact with them, and they have a base on the ocean floor near the Tonga Islands, and that's why I was there. And I'm like, what? Give me a break, give me a break. He says, would you like to see a flying saucer? I go, yeah, I would. How about right now? He says, okay. See that light up there in the sky? Yeah, that star between, no, how do you know that's a star? That's a light. The one right next to the two above and below each other? Yeah, that's the one. You just keep watching that. He closed his eyes, and I'm like, what is it, a spaceship going to come down, land on the beach, and take us to Mars or something? Or, what's the deal? Just keep watching. So he shuts his eyes, and John's looking at me, and I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, whatever, dude. When you look at something long enough, it maybe looks like it's starting to move or something like that. The thing starts, it was stationary, the thing's starting to move. It passed right between those two stars, from here to here, and then disappears like a shooting star. And I'm like, what on earth was that? He said, we did that for you. I'm like, what? What is going on here? He said, listen, we're going to visit a woman who lives in Gold Hill, Oregon, near Medford. She puts out a UFO newsletter, and we're going to go visit her. And if you'd like to come with us, you're welcome to join along. If not, we'll part our ways on the highway, and you can go your way. Sleep on it. Let me know in the morning. I could hardly sleep. I'm like, what is it? What did I see? Could this really be real? Is this guy an alien? Are there really aliens? Can I meet them or whatever? And I'm like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with the guy. So in the morning, I tell him I'm going to do it. We drive out Medford, Gold Hill, mailbox with an address, a little 2-lane blacktop, drive up the hill. There's this like big house and a bunch of cabins or something. This thing's like a resort or a lodge or ranch. I don't know what it is. So we meet the lady. She was in her 60s, white hair, had kind of an English or maybe Australian, New Zealand kind of little accent thing going on. Says, Jim just had his first sighting last night. He says, oh, your first sighting. It's so exciting the first time, isn't it? Welcome, you know. Your life is about to change in a drastic way now. And I'm like, I felt like I was being let in on a secret or something. I was pretty gullible. Anyway, have dinner with us, and tonight we're having a meeting. Okay. Have dinner with her. We're talking, chatting about flying saucers and aliens or UFO newsletters that she puts out. And after dinner, about 8 or 10 people come around. We're all sitting around this table. We're going to have a meeting and join hands. I'm like, what? It's like a prayer meeting. What the heck is this? Close your eyes. I'm trying to peek without getting caught. I'm like, what on earth is this? She starts talking. She lost the accent. And I don't remember all that she said, but what struck me was, we will put up a force field to protect the faithful when the nuclear war comes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a seance. I'm getting creeped out. This is just too creepy. Okay, be cool. Oh, wow, yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to be part of this. After dinner, we're walking to the cabin, me and John, and he says, you know, I recognize one of the women at the meeting there. I said, oh, yeah, really? Which one? Oh, the one with the braids. Oh, yeah? How do you know her? We used to be married. And I let loose some stupid comment about being twice divorced. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. He goes, no, we weren't divorced. I go, well, you know, what happened? Well, she died. Her? She died, you said? Yeah, she died and was reincarnated, and I died and I was reincarnated, and karma's brought us together, and I'm going to marry her again. And I'm like, oh, no. This is just too bizarre. I need to get away. I need to get away. So I'm being cool, okay. So the next day or so, he comes to me with a braided girl, and we're going into town to mail some UFO newsletters, get the mail, get some groceries. And John Jr. wants to come with, so if you don't mind, would you stay while we go to town? I go, oh, no, that's fine. You go ahead. You go to town. As soon as they're leaving, I'm packing my backpack. This is my chance. I can escape. I can escape this cult or whatever. Last year, I was reading about Heaven's Gate cult. I don't know if you remember this, but the ones with the Nike tennis shoes, and they drank the poison so they could go in their spiritual bodies onto the flying saucer that was hiding behind Comet Kohoutek as it neared the Earth. That group started in this part of the state about this time. Those could have been Heaven's Gate founders. If I had got sucked into that. So anyway, I got the angle. I got 20 feet of open ground I got to cover. They're working in the garden, and I got to get past the house so I can hide. I don't want to get caught. So I time it, and I'm running across with my backpack on, and I'm going along the side of the house, and I got to get down into the ditch along the dirt and crawl. I felt like a criminal escaping a penal colony or something. Get down to the bottom of the road. Finally, I could stand up. Not much traffic, man. I waited there 40 minutes, 5 cars went by. Nobody's going to stop. And then I thought, John's going to be coming back and stuff. You know, there were some bushes there. So I'm going to hide and make sure it's not John. And then when I see it's not him, I can step out and put my thumb out. Nobody's going to pick up a guy jumping out of the stalking bushes. So I realized, you know what? I got to take my chances. I got to stand out here, and I got to put my thumb out, and I'm either going to get caught or I'm not. Of all the hitchhiking I've done, all the rides over all the years, I'm surprised I can't remember who picked me up that day. But what I do remember is the relief I felt to be out of that group of strange people. And I can't help but wonder when I think back what it was I saw in the sky. I still haven't figured out what that was or how that happened. And maybe more importantly, what would have happened if John had come by first?
Thanks, Jim. He'll be back a couple different times throughout the evening. Needless to say, a storyteller, but more than that, an author. And 2 of his books are over there, and we'll be raffling off a copy or 2 of each of them tonight. Let me introduce myself very quickly. I'm Jim McDonough, the board chair and program manager of the Park Theater Company, St. Louis Park's community theater. We've been around since 2008, the year before we did our first talent show. And we've done a talent show for 16 years, several major productions. We do have a website with a lot of information on it. We haven't done a lot of stage plays, as you might expect. During the pandemic, none, but we did do our talent show. Can I hear that for the outside talent show during the pandemic? I also want to mention and point out that Children's First, which is an organization, nonprofit here in St. Louis Park, that supports development in our youth, kids, they have a table over there where I believe they're giving away free books. Am I right or not? They are. They're giving away free books, and it's a Read First initiative. Also, the Rotary, Jim Brimmeyer introduced the Rotary. The Rotary has a table over there, too, with information. They're always looking for new members. So, with no further ado, our second person in the lineup tonight, who's going to be doing a couple of different things for us, was here last year. And I guess it was pleasant enough experience for her that when I asked her this year, she said, sure. Where is it? Same place, same station, I said. So, Christy Merry, if you weren't here last year, you're in for a real treat. Christy's too young to remember these people, but if those of you that may have been fans of Tony Bennett, Perry Como, Dean Martin, this lady's got that smooth, hot poetry in her voice. I'll let her decide what else she wants to say about herself. Christy?
Hello, thank you so much for having me back again. I'm excited to be back and excited to hear you, Jim, too. My husband is very into things like what you were sharing as well, and we enjoyed it. Anyway, I decided I'm going to start by reading a little bit from each of my chapbooks that I have, and the ones that are still in print are going to be in the raffle, so you might get one. I'll just start with this one. My Ishmael, you have come, for I have strayed, the pressure of years notwithstanding the weight of promise. And I have held you in my arms a moment. But now he comes at long last, bearing testimony against my laughter, with his own laughter, crisp in the winter air like a knife. Where will you go, my Ishmael, my one whom God hears? Listen to your name, dear one. He is listening even now. He will hear you in the desert. He will carry you through the night. He will wake you in the morning with a song I have never heard. These are all short ones. This one's called Street Kid. I'm fascinated by your art, your style, your strength. I'm fascinated by your profound hopelessness. I'm fascinated by that laugh that hides the emptiness, but not well enough. I'm fascinated by your precarious balance, like a house of cards. A moment more and you'll be in tears. A moment more and you'll be in my arms. If I should tell you you have a father who loves you, no matter what. May 21, 1999, 1. I've fallen in love with pages of Plath's poetry. It's an awful trade-off, though. I laugh to the writer who pours coffee eloquently beside me. I was engaged to a young man, and I have found this treasure only through lack of him. My laugh echoed, the edges only slightly blurred with hurt. Office sorrow. And the reason it's called this is it was a temp job. I was scanning things for 9 months. Grief gets heavier each time around, as if it invokes the combined losses of your lifetime. Too many hits, and you are under brick weight. Movement, joy seem improbable occurrences. I return to the dance of the scanner. I think of you, my cousin. I think of your husband who left the earth last week in an automobile accident. I think there's probably not enough tape for this. Steal your heart. Steal your heart before it is stolen. Break the vow before it is broken. Call all the stars and heavens to account. Put the doves away, the magic's at an end. Let the little princes watch the roses black, black to match the night. Empty the chill air of all her memories and forget. Forget bedtime stories, lakes, cakes, kisses behind every closed door in every open square. Pregnant silences, dreams of distant cities. Steal your heart before it is stolen. Break the vow before it is broken. Call all the stars and heavens to account. I noticed I had a tiny bit of extra time, so I'm going to add in here one poem from my next book here. Interesting story. Last year I had a work trip and I went up to Brainerd. I thought that I didn't know anyone in Brainerd, but I looked in my Facebook and sure enough found one person that I was friends with on Facebook in Brainerd, and I wrote her a note and said, let's do coffee. Well, so we go out, we went on this long walk, we went to dinner, and turns out she is the poet laureate for the League of Minnesota Poets, of all people. You know, I just knew that she liked poetry from her poetry page. And so I couldn't remember how we were connected, but I had asked her advice. I said, you know, I'm pretty good at promoting my music, but I'm terrible at promoting my poetry. I said, do you have any suggestions for me? And she thought about it and she said, well, you know, I could write a blurb for your next book. And I thought she was being Minnesota nice. I was like, oh, that's nice of you to say. And then just recently she did. So hopefully that's a vote of confidence in this next one. And this poem is about another poetry friend, one that is mentioned in this poem in the book that I met randomly on a New York train, who's also been a big encouragement to me this year. cannot calm. I said to you, didn't I, that I cared more to be loved than I did for the dying world, that I read the captain's verses by Pablo Neruda and no more. I said to you, didn't I was the buffoon, that I say too much, that I read Dostoevsky for his compassion. I said to you, didn't I, that for all your irreligiosity, perhaps you were closer to God than I. You said it was terrible to say. And you drift into and out of my life capriciously, like the weather. Not captured by my charms, nor repelled by my obvious imperfections, you live still in the neighborhood. I would that I were either hated or loved, either with passion, so I could define myself. Your quietness throws me awkward, like the silence of God. But your friendship is a gift I treasure up, coming just when a kindred spirit was most needed, and born of the prayer in which I gave that up. And now I'm going to end this set with a song, and it is from Dory and the Dishes, the CD that Jim mentioned. So let's get that going. Here we go. I am coming to you. I have a story to tell. I am coming to you. I know this story so well. He is the dancer, oh, he is a romancer, oh, he is a juggler with balls in the air. Silver balls spinning, you'll find yourself singing. You'll find that you haven't a care. I am coming to you. I have a story to tell. I am coming to you. I know this story so well. He fell from the sky, fell right into her eye, right out the other side, bright as a pearl. He's messed up her hair with the things that he said. Now nothing will stand upright in her world. I am coming to you. I have a story to tell. I am coming to you. I know this story so well. He fell from the sky, fell right into my eye, right out the other side, bright as a pearl. He's messed up my head with the things that he said. Now nothing will stand upright in my world. Je viens pour toi. J'ai une histoire à te dire. Je viens pour toi. Je connais l'histoire si, si bien.
Thank you, Christy.
Oh, I have to pick a name.
Well, you're going to pick a name here, yes. And we're raffling off one of Christy's early poetry books here. David Gaines. Is David in the house? You have to be present to make it.
He's right there.
Okay. And we've got another. Now, did you tell him the story about your grandma?
I don't know. I can tell this story quick. My grandma, this CD here, I wrote a bunch of songs that were jazzy and whatnot, but I heard this story from my mom, she's sitting right there, that my grandma used to sing over the dishes like one of the greats. And yeah, so I unfortunately didn't get to create it during her lifetime, but I dedicate it to her.
Somebody's going to be able to take this home with them. Okay, and we have Lori Spiegel. Lori. There you are.
Okay.
That's okay. He's not shy. He just has, like I do, a little bit of the hearing deficit. But thank you, Lori. We have a surprise performer. Not that it's a surprise to him, but it is a surprise to me. And it's one of the wonderful treats of doing a program like this. You talk to people, and sure, you can be in the program, and then you don't hear, and then you think, well, they're not interested. Well, tonight, Gregory is going to do a dance, and I know so little about him. I'm not even sure of his last name. Come on down, and let's get started. I'll let you introduce yourself, Gregory.
Hello. This is the first time I ever, first time participating in the talent show. And, well, I'm going to be doing a bit of a dance routine that some of you may know. Well, especially because, well, it's timeless and all that. The adapter. All right, just sorry. Okay, sorry, okay, I think,
Are you getting any sound over there?
okay, I think we got it.
Okay.
I just need to move this out of the way. Thank you.
Gregory, see what I mean? Unexpected delight. Thank you so much. Jim Fischer has a poem that would go with that dance, but I don't know if he has it on his schedule tonight. By the way, I'm going to put the hat over there. If you don't have your little yellow slip or your name on it, please come on over and put it in so you can win on our next drawing. Take it away.
Oh, yeah, I hope to get that one. I'll try and get that one in at the end. It's my wife's favorite poem. Okay, this isn't exactly a hitchhiking trip, but it's a pretty interesting travel trip. All these are true. All these are true. The things that happened to me, man. So I was sitting on a bus in front of the New Orleans International Airport wondering what I should do next. I just spent 3 months in Central America, most wonderful trip I ever had. Volcano eruptions I saw. I was in an earthquake, jungles, beaches, reefs, forests, cobblestone streets, inexpensive, delicious food, and friendly people. Wow, it was the best trip ever. People rented rooms in their house for like $6 a night. Hotels weren't that much more. I spent one night in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. I landed there, and the guy had to charge me double from the airport downtown because I had a big backpack. And I'm like, whatever, man. It's 24 cents instead of 12, so I can't complain. Tegucigalpa, bananas were 2 for a nickel. I got a 50-cent hotel room. It wasn't very nice, but the best things about it was, 1, I didn't get bed bugs, and 2, for the rest of my life, I can tell people I got a 50-cent hotel room in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. Anyway, I landed, went through customs. I asked travelers if there's anything like a $10 room. I only had $60 left, and I got to come 1,200 miles back to Minneapolis. $10 room, they just laughed. Are you crazy? No. So I bought a bus ticket downtown. I was going to see how far $20 would take me north out of the city where I could get out of danger of being mugged or robbed or something. So I'm sitting on the bus when this sudden change in my trip happened, when I saw this elderly Latino guy get on the bus. I see the white cowboy hat and then his bushy mustache and frayed collar tight around his neck, a sport jacket trying to look nice, battered old green suitcase. One of the clasps was broken. He had a bunch of nylon wrapped around it to keep it from falling open, I guess. This guy, an interesting looking guy. We make eye contact. I go, Buenas tardes. He goes, Buenas tardes. He sits down right next to me. I wanted to see if he spoke English, so I said, you have a nice trip? He says, better yes, and you? I said, yeah, I had a nice trip. Told him all about it. Where you go now? I don't know. I don't have much money. I got to get, I don't really know. Would you happen to know anybody that would rent a guy a room or sleep on his couch for a night or, like they do in Central America? Sure, you can stay in my house. I'm like, wait a minute. When somebody's that friendly, that quick, your guard goes up, and is this like a demented serial mass murderer luring me into a grisly death, or just a nice guy trying to help a guy out? I figured he's all right. He's going to help me out, so I said, okay. So he told me when to get off with him. We got off, we were going down Elysian Fields. I remember the name of the street. And nice neighborhood. We walk up half a block, and he says, concrete stoop, espérame aquí. Wait here. Okay. He goes in the house. This huge argument breaks out in Spanish. I cannot understand any of it. Her voice is accusatory and vindictive, and his is pleading and sorrowful. And I'm like, what the heck? I just want to sleep on the couch. I'm not the mass murderer here. What's the problem? Then it gets suddenly quiet. And I'm like, oh no, he's killed her and I'm next. I'm getting my pack. I don't know where I am. It's getting late. I know there's Elysian Fields and we're far from the airport. It's going to get dark. I'm going to get robbed, whatever. He opens the door, hands me a peanut butter sandwich on a plate and a glass of milk, and he says, don't go. What could I do? I sat there eating a peanut butter sandwich, watched the cars cruise up and down Elysian Fields. Another little skirmish I hear in the background. And it's like, whatever, man. He opens the door. You're done, you know. I give him the plate. I give him the cup. And sets it down inside the door and reaches in. And there's the old green battered suitcase. This is not good. Let's walk, he says. Oh, no. I go, I'm so sorry. I never should have accepted your invitation. You know, I didn't understand why it was such a big deal. It's not what you did. It's what I did, he says. Let's go to the bus stop. He says, after all these years, she found out I'd have another secret wife in Tampico, and she kicked me out. So you can't stay there, neither can I. Listen, I'm going to see my son in Dallas. You want to come and stay a couple days with me in Dallas? I go, no, I got to get to Minneapolis. He says, listen, I want to help you out. I'm sorry I got you in this predicament. This is all in Spanish that I can hardly understand, but I've got another house in another part of town. It's not very nice as this one, and there might not even be water or electricity, but, you know, it's all I have to offer you. And I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know. It's only 4 blocks from Bourbon Street. And I'm like, oh, well, all right. You know, if it sucks, I'll only spend one night. Yeah, let's go. You have to pay our bus fare. I pay the bus fare. We get off at the corner of Rampart and Pogger. I remember that. And this isn't a very nice neighborhood. And his is the not nicest house on the street. The paint's peeling off. There's papers stuck up against the chain link fence in the yard. We go around the back. He opens the door. My eyes adjust to the darkness. I see a couple of candles melted on the countertop. And he tries the light switch. There's nothing. He tries the water. There's water. There's water in the toilet. There's even toilet paper. This place is looking more like the Hyatt Regency every minute. So, yeah, I'm in, man. We walk into the other room. There's a little table and chair and a bed with a sheet and a pillow on it. But there was a smell. And it's like, he was embarrassed. We both knew it. He didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to embarrass him. But it wasn't that bad, but it was kind of like maybe a skunk died into the house about a year ago and I wasn't quite done decomposing yet, you know? He goes, okay, I'm going. Adios, buena suerte, igualmente, muchas gracias. He's out the door. Wow, okay. So I'm airing the place out with a piece of cardboard. I got my back to the street and I'm doing this thing and I almost jumped out of my skin. I hear this voice, what you doing in Nando's house? And there's this big, fat, black woman there with frizzy-haired, wild eyes. She even a gold tooth, really. I said, I'm a friend of Hernando's. He said I could stay here. Don't that place still smell? Well, yeah, a little bit, I guess, you know. Didn't he tell you what happened in there? I didn't ask him. I'm thinking, leave me alone. I'm just trying to get through life here. Old man living there with his dog, him gone missing. Time later, Hernando come with the police. They go in, they find him in there, long time dead, and had his dog been eating on him. You can't stay in a house where a man died and his dog ended up eating on him. You come with me. That's a dumpy house. You can't stay there. You come with me. She grabs me by the wrist. She's leaving down the street. I was glad it wasn't a blind date, actually. She goes, you stay with my son, Andrew. He lives right there. Andrew, you be a good Christian boy. This man, friend Hernando's, he needs a place to spend the night on your couch tonight. Okay, whatever. What a day this was. So, you know, we talked. I got to see Bourbon Street. I had some gumbo. I came back. We were talking before I go to bed. And I'm laying on his couch that night. The heart just full of gratitude. And I'm thinking about this day and the things that happened. You know, first, I didn't know what I was going to do. I met Hernando. He takes me to his house. He's got a big problem. He still tries to help me. He takes me to this place. She's trying to help me. Andrew's helping me. And I'm thinking about Streetcar Named Desire. Tennessee Williams wrote a book about this city. And in it, his character Blanchett said, I've always depended upon the kindness of strangers. And I realized that in all my trips, I look forward to the scenery and the volcanoes and the waterfalls and the snorkeling and everything and the food and the people. But what sticks out in my mind more than the places, actually, is the people and their kindness and the way they open their lives to me and help me see things in a different way and help me learn about myself. And I was falling asleep on his couch that night. I remember thinking, you know, I'll always be indebted, and joyfully so, to the kindness of strangers.
Jim, back, please. Yes. We're going to raffle off Jim's first book, Providencia. All right.
Maria Fischer? What's it say? Maria
Fischer. There she
With
is.
the phone number?
There she is, yeah.
You want Providencia or you want Lucy in the TR4?
No, we're doing that one.
We're doing this one?
And the second one we're going to do, we'll have more drawings for this, but this is Jim's new book. Here, you have to draw, Jim. Have you done anything from this tonight? I haven't got the sound.
I decided not to do anything from that book because it's so full of twists and turns and surprises. If I told anything, you read it, you'd already know the surprise. So
Lucy
you got to read it.
TR4, Lucy and the TR4. It's a journey book, but go on Amazon, and if you're not intrigued by their description, I don't know what would. Jim, draw the name of the lucky winner.
Dave Spiegel. Dave Spiegel.
There we go. Spiegel boy. All right. Christy.
Hello. Well, this is my second and last set. Thank you so much again for having me. I really enjoyed everyone's performances. I think there's kind of a theme of traveling and meeting cool people. Interesting people, anyway, yep. And also, I just wanted to thank sound guys, cameramen, everybody, Jim, everybody has just worked so hard on this. It's a beautiful thing. I like it. I'm going to start with a song here. This one is from my other CD, or it's a little older EP here for you. And this song, it's kind of a sad one. I mean, big surprise, me, right? But it's about this person, another random person I met in a park in New York when I was living there. And this person was struggling a lot with addiction and was not able to make the decision to leave it at that time, so we went ahead and cut off contact. But I wrote this song about it. It's called I Wish You Tried. Went to the park again today, I cried, not knowing if you lived or if you died, knowing you got no one by your side. I wished again that you had tried. I bet that you are lying in your bed, lying there with daggers in your head. The sun that shines would only hurt your eyes. The sun that shines would only hurt your eyes. You said that you were hurt when you were young. The taste of it is always on your tongue. You drink to try to wash that taste away. You fear that it is always here to stay. You fear that it is always here to stay. Oh, 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 I went to the park again today, I cried. So I'm going to share some poetry now from my next book, Don't Kiss the Messenger. It's basically about relationships, real or imagined, over about 15 years between, say, college and when I met my husband. And so if it's not out yet, but hopefully this fall. So if you like something in it and you want to know when it comes out, you can sign up on the email list and find out. Yesterday, I had decided what I was going to read, but then I changed my mind. I saw the movie It Ends With Us yesterday. I don't know if anyone's seen it. I thought it was really good, but obviously pretty heavy, about abusive relationships. And I was thinking about it, and I just thought how sad it is that just as women, how many of us have experienced things of that nature in our own lives or know someone who has. So I just thought I'd read a few poems that related to brushes with that sort of thing. This one's called Bethel. I was marrying a wound, becoming one, and bled incessantly. Deep red poppies bloomed and took me to sleep. I was lost in the dream and crying, but no one could tell where the cries came from. No rescuer could untangle the maze. And like all nightmares, my face would change unexpectedly. I was my father, with tape sealed over my mouth, my mother, but shrunken to the size of a child. A silence fell like the eye of a storm, but so heavy that no good could come from it. When the wind picked me up, it threw me clear out of sleep. When onlookers thought they saw me land gentle, with knees bent to take the jar. Only I knew how much it took from me. The limp is barely visible. I am breathing real air. But sometimes when you speak to me, I will look past you. A smile might play on my lips. A tear might fall. When I am like that, don't ask me what it was like wrestling the angel. I am remembering the dream before. Thank you. Deep Sea Drown, page 422, and love is far behind me again, fictional lifetimes away. You cast lines out to see if I am still here, feel brief evidence, but I am elusive now, down in the dark, the deep, subterranean world, treading watery floor unaffected by tears, breathing them and touching the edges of the fauna, stung exquisitely. I shimmer fathoms below the grief of the waves, mirage of woman in salt sea desert. You will exhale far sooner than touch this skin, wearing translucent as pearl. Thank you. And to end it on a happier note, this last poem, let me see if I can find it. This last poem, I joke that it was prophetic, and I'll explain why after. It's called Every 6 Years. Every 6 years, I find the one. He sparkles in his dapper gray. We fill up phone receivers with our dreams. When we lay on the grass in summer, children upsprout. They peek even from the cracks in the sidewalk. Within 5 months, we have lived a life and found it wanting. Our two halves too awkward a fit to make a whole. Oh, children, bitter fruits of honesty, I admit I have no heart to mother you. Now your ghost walks leave me cold, and I'm sinking below ground for another winter. I will wake at 34 and try again. So the joke is, or the happy thing is, I met my husband when I was 34. I had come back to Minnesota for 1 month, I thought, to learn to drive, and then I got stuck for a little bit, and then my mom's prayers of me meeting a local guy were answered, and that's why I'm still here. So.
We're going to raffle off another Dory in the dishes.
All right.
Alrighty. Heather Hayes. Enjoy. We're not raffling off the song or the album that Christy, but it's over there for $5. These are over there if you don't win and you want one. I mean, where are you going to get a CD for $5? You know, sealed, not used, you know, brand new. So then we're going to do her book, The Year Without You, poetry. Ed Boley. Is Ed here? He couldn't wait, huh? Okay, draw another one. Jessica Schofield. That's what happens when you leave class early. Terry Schofield. Did she leave somebody behind? No? Okay. All right. Stan Waldhauser. Oh, my goodness. See? All right. We have one left. Vashti. All right. No. Do you mind sharing your birth date? You don't have to do the year, the birth date.
I can show the year.
Yeah.
July 30th, 1976.
Do we have anybody here July 30th? There he goes. He gets Dory in the dishes. Jim. Oh, a shout out and a thank you to ParkTV, Paul Brogan and his camera crew. Let's hear it for him. 3-camera shoot. You can see this on ParkTV 15, channel 15, or on YouTube. It'll be uploaded to YouTube. And eventually, when I get back in the studio, Arts in the Park Video Magazine. I also want to give a shout out to Seth Rowe, who moved on as community editor of the Sun Sailor. Seth covered our talent show and everything else for a long time. And Seth was 20 years, was really a boost to the theater and to, again, arts in this community. Also over there, and you'll see on your program, I give a shout out. How many of you have heard of the New Primitives? The band, the New Primitives. There you go. Stan Kipper and Chico Perez. Stan and Chico, the New Primitives. They've been around since 2003, but they just dropped a new album. That'll be the last thing we raffle off. Somebody's got to put there's nothing in the hat if you want their new album. And Stan has a play that's debuting over at the History Theater September 21st called Behind the Sun. It's a personal play that he wrote about his life, and it's at the History Theater in St. Paul. Go see it. It's very powerful. We've been working with him on both of these initiatives. So, okay, for no further ado, Jim Fischer, take us home.
Thanks, Jim. My first book is called Providencia and Other Stories. I'm doing the other stories. Providencia, I couldn't do it justice to even start. There's a detailed description on the back cover of the book and on a placard over there. If you're interested in some unusual experiences, check that out. So that island I would go to year after year. Angie and I were dating at the time, and one year I couldn't go. Yeah, got to read the story. I couldn't go, so I'm like, what am I going to do? I've got the money for a trip, but I can't go because Angie can't go, and I don't want to jeopardize our relationship and all that. So we were living in an abandoned farmhouse with no water or electricity for 5 seasons, and I was able to save quite a bit of money that way. That's how I could afford to go to the trips to Providencia. But this year I wasn't going to go, and I had the trip money and burning a hole in my pocket, and what am I going to do? And I kind of bummed out. I had to write Borgo and Martina a letter telling them I wasn't going to come this year. They were like my adoptive parents. It was incredible. And so one day I'm standing in line at the bank, depositing 80% of my pay in savings. And I see a guy ahead of me. He's wearing a really cool embroidered jacket. It says, "Learn to fly." And there's a picture of a little airplane and a phone number. So he finished his business, and I got out of line, as I'm known to do on occasion. And I went over and I talked to him. "What's the deal about flying? What's the deal?" So he told me Red Anderson out in Buffalo Airport. He's an old Alaskan bush pilot, and he'll treat you right. He'll teach you how to fly. So I called the guy up. He says, "Yeah, come on out. Saturday afternoon." I go out there Saturday afternoon. Beautiful day, and it's like, what's the deal? What's the deal? Well, you get 40 hours dual, 40 hours solo, all your training, all your books, and at the end of it, unless you're a complete idiot, you get your pilot's license. So what, I said, "How much is it?" "Well, it's $800. Well, that was more money back then. It's like, I found out it cost like $17,000 to do now what I did there for $800. But I go, "Well, yeah, I don't know. Can you lower the price a little bit?" And he says, "Come on, let's get in the plane. Let's not talk money." Shows me how to do the deal, turn on the thing, check the magnetos, start the engine, prime it, give it a little choke, 10 degrees flaps. Buffalo traffic, 7-1 uniform, taxiing to departure on runway 03. Got there, okay, now see that? Push that thing in all the way and keep your hands gently on the yoke and don't fight me. Let's go. We go rolling now. We go, flying over there. He says, "Okay, now you take it. Don't do anything radical. Just you got the ailerons left and right. Elevator goes up and down. The rudder does this. This is really cool. Doing a turn. Okay. Coming in land. That's cool, man." I wrote him a check on the spot. So I'm using up my time. I want to get my solo. It's the biggest day of a new pilot's life. Ready to go. It's winter time. I go out there. Maybe today, too windy, can't do it. Go back next weekend. Okay, there might be a chance. Okay, so he says to me, "I'm a student. I've never even been in a plane. You're the pilot. You show me what to do. Tell me what to do." So I go out there and I check the oil, check the fuel for water. All the connections are all good. Get in the thing, show them how to start the engine, do the magnetos, 10 degrees flaps, radio work, all that stuff. Taxi down, taking off runway 03. Come around, carburetor heat, flaps, come in and put her down. It's so smooth. He goes, "I'm getting out. You're ready." Yes. I'm going to solo. So I get out, do all the stuff, carburetor heat, flaps, air, take off, fly around, come in. I'm going to bring it down and land it. It was February, icy, glare ice, smooth. I'm coming down to land, and he's standing by the fuel pumps there, and I put her down, and I go, I don't need to go a quarter of a mile all the way up to the end. I'll stop and turn into the pumps, and, you know, he can shake my hand for what a good job I did. So I'm touching the brakes, and like I said, glare ice, and this thing turns sideways. I'm going 50 miles an hour sideways down the runway, wondering if I'm going to cartwheel in a ball of fiery death. I thought the last thing I was going to see in my life, he's wearing his ear flap hat, and he's smoking a pipe. As I go sliding past him sideways on the runway, he puts his hands on his head and opens his mouth, and the pipe drops out on the snow. I thought that was the last thing I was ever going to see in my life. Skidded to a stop, didn't die. We talked about last-minute decisions at crucial moments, and I was allowed to continue my training. So I got all my dual used up. I got to use some solo. I'm doing my cross-country navigation. I'm doing my touch and goes, Litchfield Airport. I flew up to Fort Snelling and Ripley. Doing all that stuff. So you got to learn to recover from stalls. So this is really fun. You get up to about 5,000 feet, you pull back the throttle, and you pull back in the elevator, and you start to climb, and you lose your lift, and this thing drops like a roller coaster. Give her the juice, pull out, better than any roller coaster. So I'm doing this a few times, go back up to $5,000. Last time I did this, I was a little careless, and I had one wing a little lower than the other. And when I stalled, I gave it the gas as the nose was falling instead of waiting till after it followed. Well, that extra torque and the wing being low, I immediately went into spiral, and I'm spinning around and around and around. And I'm going, okay, steer out of the skid. So I'm trying to steer out of the skid, and nothing's happening, nothing's happening. I'm looking down, the airspeed indicators in yellow, going up under the red, the throttle's still wide open. I pull the throttle back, and I'm trying to fight this thing, and nothing's happening. And I got a vision of the tail of the plane sticking out of a burned spot in the news that night, and the announcer talking about next of kin. And I lost all hope. For some reason, I don't know how this happened. The spinning ground turned into the laundry and the dryer at the laundromat a couple of days earlier. And I remembered I was mad that I put up in 50 more cents or another 20 minutes. These crappy dryers are so slow. So I could read my books while I'm training manual while I'm doing my laundry. All right, I get to read another chapter. Stall recovery, what's next? Spin recovery. Spin recovery is achieved by the use of opposite rudder, because your nose is down. You don't use the ailerons, you use a rudder. Okay, I get it. Then the laundry turns back into the ground again, and it's really close this time. And I do the opposite rudder, and it slows down, and I'm pulling back on the elevator, trying to split the difference between hitting the ground and breaking the wings off this little plane. And I'm going, please, God. The blood's draining down in my face from the Jesus, and I just pull it out. I was like less than 300 feet. For 5,000, I fell for like 14 seconds. I had 2 seconds till I would have hit the ground. And I'm thinking, God saved my life again. This is like the 5th time God saved my life. I set the house on fire when I was a little kid. We lived miraculously. Close calls on my car. I was driving in Colorado, left-hand turn tight in a mountain road. I was riding the line, and the other guy was riding the line coming up, and I had to pull in my arm. I was afraid we were going to hit. And then I almost went off the curve. I almost died twice in 2 seconds. Close calls with Angie in the car. The time my sister was sent to me on the darkest night of my life by a miracle to save my life. And now this. That's all I could think of to say. Flew back to the airport. Oh, that always gets me. That was a miracle. What's next? Fast forward a few years, my son tells me he's going to go skydiving. I'm like, what? Don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to kill yourself. It's dangerous. No, Dad, it's really good. It's fun, you know. So he's jumping. He's got like 40 jumps in. He's still alive. Father's Day comes up. Dad, how would you like a tandem for Father's Day? I'm like, you know what? I would. So they bought me a tandem and a cameraman and everything. So we drive up to Superior. Saturday night, Sunday morning, I get my little training for like 2 minutes. Arch, don't keep your feet down when we land. We'll crash and stuff, and just relax and arch. Okay, we're going up in the airplane. It takes like 20 minutes to get up to 10,000 feet. I wasn't afraid, but I was really nervous, and I was excited. So we get it to about 9,000, turn around, and he's clipping me into Fargo, his name was, clips me in the harness, and Kevin high-fives me, the camera guy high-fives me, they open the door, 10 grand. Kevin says goodbye, and woo, he disappears out of the plane. I wondered if I'm ever going to see him again. The cameraman climbs out, he's hanging on the strut, and me and Fargo were climbing, trying to not get a parachute on anything, and okay, we're ready. He said, go, well, geez, you know, and people want to know if you get the belly rush like a roller coaster, you know, but you don't. You're already going 80 miles an hour, and it takes you 10 seconds to get up to 100. So you're just floating on this loud air. Okay, and the cameraman comes flying up, and I grab his hand, and we do a 360, and he deploys it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, quiet, quiet, quiet. What happened to me? What just happened to me? It's like out of body. My mind couldn't even catch up. There's Kevin and Ben on the ground. We're coming into land, you know, and no, not yet. We're up there. And he goes, you want a wild ride? I go, yeah, I want a wild ride. He goes, pull down on that toggle. And I pull down on the toggle. Whoa, we turn. Do the other one. Whoa, we turn the other way. Hold it down and bury it. We start spinning around and spinning around. It was so cool and so fun. It's like, let go, let me drive. I gotta land this thing. There's Kevin and Ben, come right down. We just sit down right in front, about 10 feet away. I'm like, you know what? I want to sign up and take the lessons. So I take the lessons, and it's very intimidating. The first jump class, you got to tell them everything that could possibly go wrong. You had a total malfunction, a partial malfunction. Do you cut away? Do you not cut away? Do you deploy your reserve? You know, RSL, what is that? What is this? Oh, no, I'm not ready. So you're supposed to sign this thing at the end of the training saying you're ready to do it, and I couldn't sign the thing. I wasn't ready. So I spent the night, and the next morning, you know, Kevin goes up on first load. Everybody's jumping. People are landing. Nobody's dying. It's all good. I got my questions answered, so I started my training. Long story short, I got my A license. Proud day in my life. I got my B license. You got to do a water landing simulated. They take you out on a pontoon boat, wearing the rig, and you jump in the water. They throw a canopy over your head, and you got to swim out from underneath it and get the harness off. So, you know, if you don't drown, you get your B license. I got my B license. C license, you got to land within a cone, like 10 feet from the cone a bunch of times, and minutes of free fall and all kinds of jump numbers. Did that. D license, you got to do a night jump. That was cool, like James Bond stealth, you know, little airport with the lights down there. It was very cool. And then I got my instructional rating. I was a skydiving instructor. I was into it. And I was going to tell you about when, I was going to tell you about Haji. I'm changing my show right now. I got to tell you about Haji. I was instructing at Westside. Joe opened a drop zone in Winstead. I didn't have to drive 2.5 hours up to Duluth. I could just go 45 minutes to Winstead. I was teaching there, and Haji shows up one day. He was about 34 years old. He had over 1,000 jumps. He did tandems. He videoed tandems. He became our safety and training advisor. And he would take the students up on their first jump. I couldn't do that as a coach instructor. They have to be stable, kind of pulling on time and doing pretty good. And then after that, I can teach them to jump safely in groups and have better landings and not hurt anybody. So Haji, and that plane incident, which even overcomes me now, caused me to go on a kind of a spiritual quest. And I was searching for God to see if it was really true, if these were just coincidences that my life was saved all those times. And I got studying people. I went to Bible college for 1.5 years. I studied Old Testament history, New Testament history, and the Gospels. And I made a pretty serious commitment at one time. And I wanted to share that with people, but I had to be careful how I do it because you can turn them off so easily. I wanted to share with Haji. But we were always busy packing our parachutes, debriefing our students, unloading the videos, getting on the next jump. End of the day, party, beers come out, bonfire. I was just partying with everybody else. I'll share with them next time. So that went on until fall came early that year, and the season ended with rain and wind, and we closed early. And I go, okay, now I can finally talk to Haji and have a serious talk with him and share my faith with him, such as it was. So I called a friend of ours. I didn't have his phone number because we'd meet every Sunday, Saturday at the drop zone. I didn't need his number. I called our mutual friend. Hey, give me Haji's phone number. I want to get together with him. Oh, Haji's in Hawaii. He just left last Tuesday. He's going to be out there till April. He's doing videos and tandems out there. Crap, I missed my chance. I'll share with him for sure when I see him next spring. About a month later, I get a text. Did you hear what happened to Haji? I'm like, no. How bad? Pelvis, femur? Is he dead? What? Turns out it was a skydiving accident. Oh, some demented bipolar guy hit him on the head with a pipe or something, fractured his skull, he had a metal plate in his head. Constant physical and emotional pain. He couldn't jump anymore. Life lost all meaning for him. And he got depressed, despondent, didn't want to go on. And one day he took his own life, leaving me to wonder, could I have made a difference? Why didn't God save his life like he saved mine? I prefer to think of Haji around the bonfire laughing and joking and encouraging me to do another one of my poems, so I wrote one in honor of you, Haji. Sorry. My friend's gone now. What can I say? Wish it would have gone some better way. Just goes to show that you don't always know when they can't face another sad day. The emotions he must have been feeling, profoundly disconsolate, reeling, but he hid it so well that we just couldn't tell that his tormented heart needed healing. Some people are good at pretending their shattered soul doesn't need mending. They're reluctant to tell they're not doing too well, and they wish that their sad life were ending. I too have lived such despair, all alone with no one to care. Oh, why did you do it when we'd help you through it? My God, why is life so unfair? So if there's someone that you know who's down and feeling so low, go, tell them you care, and then you will be there to help them defeat that dark foe. TR4. Anybody know what a TR4 is? You do. What is it? It's an English sports car, really cool. I had one. It's about the whole trip. Road trip that went horribly wrong and horribly good both. You got to read it.
Lucky winner.
And the one who gets to read it is, drum roll please, Elizabeth Anon. Anon? Elizabeth? Elizabeth?
Elizabeth?
Nope. Not here. You're lost, Liz.
There she is.
Where?
Come on. Don't be shy.
You win a book.
The people that brought the books get a book. Check out the free books over there for the kids. One more, Jim.
Linda Mary. That's
Linda
your mom.
Mary.
Is that your mom? Mom won.
There you go.
Don't.
Good. Jim, will you help me with one more? This is the new Primitives album that I referred to, and a lucky winner of this one. They couldn't be with us tonight. Tommy Rabine.
Tommy Rabine.
There he is. You're going to enjoy this, man. Here, take both. Take all of that. All right, now, thank you tonight, and thank the weather gods. I think we'll all get home safe before the thunder rolls in. You know, thanks for sticking with us. Come back next year. We'll be here probably like the third Wednesday in August, just like this year. Let's hear it for our performers tonight. Jim Fischer, Gregory Thriller, and Christy Merry. Thanks so much, guys. Safe trip home.